Boom. Yeah, it's the Macho Man Randy Savage doing the thing, yeah, psyched to the max. When I feel just a little bit insane, yeah. Yeah, did I just say what I think I said? A little bit insane, yeah. I listen to the Beachtown Comedy Podcast with Jesse Egan and Bob. Two dudes on the job, brighten your day. Freak out, doing the thing, yeah. Yeah.
Jesse and Bob are two dudes on the job to brighten your day, while gabbing away on a pod. Forget your frown, let's see what's going down in Beachtown.
Whoa, Nelly, Jesse, what it is, episode 8. What do you say? What do you know? Tip the veal, try the waitress.
That was great. That was a great intro right there.
Well, we thank our Randy Savage for doing that. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. That is awesome.
Absolutely tremendous. Well, what a way to kick it off, and what an act to follow, if anything else.
Whew, I tell you, that guy bouncing off the walls,
jumping off the ceiling.
He's shaking babies. What is he doing?
He's kissing hands and shaking babies. Yeah.
It's got to be stopped.
Not the handle too cold to hold. Yes, episode 8. We are Jesse Egan and Bob. I am one of those guys. Welcome to the Beachtown Comedy Podcast, the mental health podcast that actually cheers you up. It is what it is. We are what we are. Any way you slice it, win, lose, or draw. Oh, Jesse, what's the skinny? What's the scuttlebutt? What's the deep dish? How's it hanging?
I'm excited. You got us all on the audio now. All of our audio files are uploaded. We're on the Podomatic, so people can check that out. Quick disclaimer before we get started, of course, Bob and I are not professionals. We don't know jack squat about jack shit. So if you need real mental health help, go seek a professional. But in the meantime, we're going to give it our best shot today and go through our grapes for the week. What do you think, Bob? Are you ready?
I think let's jump right into it. Do you want to go backwards this week?
Yeah, okay. Let's go backwards.
Let's do it. As long as
do some grapes, or as we call them, separg.
We ain't doctors. We ain't saviors. Now enjoy the fruits of your labor. Oh, yeah.
Separg. So as repeated viewers or listeners of the show will know, grapes stands for G, gentle with self, R, relaxation, A, accomplishment, P, pleasure, E, exercise, and S, social. We're going to start in reverse with social and see how we did for the week. I didn't have much social this week, Bob. I was a hermit. How about you? Did you? What did you do?
I had social lined up and then I deleted it. How about that? I went negative social.
You went actual negative social.
Yeah.
I think the only I called my parents. I spoke to my parents briefly on the phone, and I don't know if any of the listeners have ever had this happen, where you call up to catch up with your parents, and then they start fighting among themselves. They're having a fight over the phone, and I'm like, oh, I could just see myself out. I'm on the West Coast. They're on the East Coast. They're in the same house. They're on two different phone lines fighting each other. And I'm like, nice to hear from you guys. Anyway, that was my social.
Like, how am I stuck in this fight? I'm not even in this time zone.
Yeah.
But I used to what I used to do? I'll just tell you this. I'll just tell you anyway, make it faster. When I was in New York and even staying with my brother in New Jersey, I would call my mom, who's in South Carolina, and I'd ask her what time it was over there. It's completely the same time all the time. But I would always do that. And then she'd stop and then answer me and then explain to me that it goes, east to west or west to east and not north and south, up and down. And I would kind of make her explain that to me every time. And then I would laugh.
Nice. Bob, by the way, we should mention you have a new backdrop today. Where is that? Is that the beach?
That is across Linda Vista Road in Kearny Mesa, which is a part of San Diego.
Here, lean forward a little bit for a second.
Well, that doesn't do anything.
Oh, okay.
I think I have to go this way.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Okay. Is this the view from the dumpsters?
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So in front of me, there's this wonderful sunset, so for our YouTube viewers there. Uh-huh. And behind me is trash.
Yeah. Anna thought that was hilarious when you posted that. You like to have balance. So yeah.
I like to have balance.
Sunset from the dumpsters. That was actually the original name for this podcast, by the way, but it's too long. Sunset from the dumpsters. So our social is crap this week, really.
Yeah,
but,
I was supposed to go to a wedding in Iowa because when
Yeah.
you go to a destination wedding, you want to hit up Des Moines and finally just get a chance to see what it's all about. And I didn't. I had to cancel it for health reasons, Jesse, which I think we're going to get into throughout the grapes.
They were really beat up this week. Honestly, like we went to a show together in Carlsbad, and I couldn't even get out of the car. Like we get out there, I get out, I'm so stiff. I got some kind of leg pain, backache thing where I felt paralyzed, and you were dealing with something.
I have some issues. Well, I'll just spill my guts right here.
Okay.
LOL. You see what I did? You see what I did there? Because I've been holding on to that for 5 days.
Yes.
Because I have a hernia.
Bob has a hernia, folks.
Bob has a hernia. Now it's not killing me, but it's not great either. So it's a situation that's going to have to be taken care of pretty soon. So I got some abdominal discomfort and whatnot, and it's affected. The rest of my grapes are all totally affected by this. The social part is I couldn't go to a wedding that I promised to go to this weekend in Iowa, Cedar City, Cedar Crest, Cedar something near Des Moines, or I think the airport was in. Who the fuck cares? It's in Iowa. But they're my good friends, and it was going to be a mini reunion of sorts with me and some comedians I knew from Queens, New York, and all that. And I fought it back and forth for several days. Geez, I don't want to cancel. You really shouldn't go, but I don't want to cancel, but you really should. And then finally I went, you can't go. You can't fly. And the rest of my grapes will demonstrate that was a wise decision.
Yeah.
So I'm negative social for my step
Negative social. And I think the most socializing we did was maybe at the show we did in Carlsbad. We went up there, and I was in so much pain. I was like sitting outside on the park bench, and there was a drug addict lady talking to me.
Yeah, you look like you're having fun.
And that was socializing, but I needed saving. I was looking around. Bob, where are you? That was a weird one because she was an elderly lady, and she came up to me smoking a cigarette, and I was sitting on the bus stop bench, so that was my fault. But she came up and proceeded to tell me, like, I don't drink alcohol, but I'm addicted to drugs. And I was like,
you don't
okay.
say. Yeah.
How do you respond to that? It's just so weird. But that was a weird show in general. What about the E? Our E exercise probably got affected from our injuries. I could barely move all week. All I did was walk around exploring wedding venues with Anna. We did quite a bit of that and looked at a bunch of places. But I tried to get my food better. I cooked a bunch of roasted vegetables. I made some onion jam and did a lot of cooking. And so that was sort of in lieu of exercise, I guess, was walking a little bit and trying to cook some food and vegetables and stuff. Did you limit your exercise after the doc told you to?
Yeah, I've had I have negative exercise again, and when I don't exercise I get cranky.
Yeah,
like I am not happy. I don't sleep well. I've too much energy. I'm tired, but I can't sleep at the end of the night. I'm used to exercising all the time, and I don't like it. But he's like, have you been lifting any heavy weights lately? And I said, well, yeah, for like 20-something years, 23 years. But in the last couple of years, I've had low weight and high reps for a couple of years now. I haven't lifted anything heavy in a long time, but I was still regular. And he said, you probably just had this for a while, and now it's just getting aggravated. And so knock off the heavy lifting. And he said I could still do some stuff. I got to figure out a workout plan now. I guess the new goal is to figure out a new light workout plan. Basically, leave my little free weights alone and just use resistance cords and body weight stuff, but I'm still not 100% feeling like that's a great idea. So I don't know. I'm aggravated because I can't work out, and it's all I got. So
it's really a domino effect there. One injury takes out all that.
I have nothing but swish grapes this weekend.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So did you have any pee? Was there any pleasure for this week, or being in so much pain?
I have one. I went to the movie theater for the first time in nearly 2 years. Last time I was there, I saw some crap. The end of I think it was called Urinating on Star Wars, or whatever the hell the name of the movie was. But I saw a movie that I had to go into with an open mind, and I did, and I ended up enjoying it thoroughly. I saw the Snake Eyes G.I. Joe origin film in the theater at the
I like how you say you went in with an open mind, like as if you were like, I don't know, I am the biggest G.I. Joe fan in the world. I guess I'll take a chance at this G.I. Joe movie. Like, that's
I did.
It's not like you were seeing the Notebook or something, but
Well,
so you enjoyed the Snake Eyes movie?
Part of me being gentle with oneself, or G, is that I have a very open mind. I enjoyed the.
I like both G.I. Joe and the Transformers.
Yes, and don't forget He-Man.
Yeah.
Kevin Smith did when he made a new He-Man show, that piece of shit. So I watched the G.I. Joe films, Snake Eyes, in the theater. I didn't get any snacks because my stomach was hurting. So I just got a bottle of like Aquafina water, and it was very good. But I enjoyed the film thoroughly. Arguably the greatest film ever made. It was very good.
Oh, you really jumped ahead on that one. So we're not going to get a full synopsis of the Snake Eye movie. I think that's probably good. I think it's a very focused group that would be really wanting to hear the synopsis of the Snake Eyes movie.
I know both of our listeners are very interested.
How many people were in the theater? Was it both of our listeners for that one, or
it was under 20 people, and it's amazing. Here's I found myself sitting in the theater in a way exactly where I was when I saw Urinating on Star Wars in December of 2019. I found myself with the same thought. And movie theaters do need to die. There's no good people in the world. This is a mental health podcast. Everyone, thank you for joining us.
There's no good people
because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's 14 people in the thing. One asshole's got to look at his phone. Some dumb fat fucks. There's a constant rustling of popcorn, like going back. There's 14 of us in this big room. Like and I'm sitting near nobody, right? And because I chose my seat on the Fandango application beforehand and whatnot, and I was in seat E1, right behind the handicapped or differently abled adults seats, if you will. And I'm sitting there, and everyone's far the fuck away. And I'm like the fifth or sixth row, but I'm off to the little off to the side. Everyone's far away. And then, as always, as the thing starts, or right during the last preview, that's when some big stupid family has to come in, and they're very dumb people. Because the thing is, the kids have to sit down and then stand up and play musical chairs and switch seats 5 times. It's a really big deal where they sit for 2 hours while they ignore a movie about a character that's been around for 40 years before they were born. It's just I was just disgusted with humanity. Just disgusted with every single one of them.
Oh God!
And thankfully they didn't ruin, but I enjoyed the movie enough. I thought for the G.I. Joe fans, Snake Eyes. Well, I questioned.
Still a ninja.
Still in it. Well, he wasn't always. He was a commando. That's the thing. He doesn't start Snake Eyes does not start his journey as a ninja. He gradually becomes one when he trains under the Arashikage, where him and Storm Shadow have a splitting of ways. But there's various versions of the G.I. Joe Snake Eyes origin, and this was a new one again. They had to change it. They can't just do one in the 80s. I don't know why, but they changed it again because this one has Henry Golding, who's a big star. And Snake Eyes, who never talks and doesn't show his face, has to talk and have his face take up the screen for a majority of the film. So that was a little disheartening, but the movie itself was good. The existence of Cobra and the Baroness and Scarlet and Storm Shadow and the Arashikage Ninja Clan were all done excellently. So I enjoyed the film thoroughly, and I look forward to more G.I. Joe Origins films.
That's great. I'm glad to hear that is a pleasant experience. I had a similar experience this week because we went to the movies as well. Anna and I went to see the Black Widow movie, and it was equally shit. I mean, I like the movie, but it was such a horrible experience. The whole time I'm thinking, I haven't been to the movies in a year and a half. I can't wait to go see it on this big screen. IMAX, right? The whole thing. We go in there. We bought the tickets in advance. We go into the theater. The movie doesn't start when the thing is supposed to start. Nothing starts. The lights are on. The screen is off. Nothing starts. 15 minutes go by. A bunch of us go out into the hallway. There's some young punk, probably the guy that's from The Simpsons, who's like, Mr. Halitosis, my pimples are pimpling or whatever. And it's that kid, and he's talking to someone else, and he goes, I'm like, hey, what about the movie? And he's like, it's supposed to start at 6. I'm like, no, 5:45. Why do I know your schedule? And all of us do. And he goes, oh, I'll just get it started now, and I'll just skip the previews. And I'm like, wait, no, we fucking came to see So they skipped through the whole previews. They never turned the lights off in the theater. We watched the whole fucking movie with the lights on.
What?
As soon as the movie ends and the credits roll, the lights turn off.
When
So
you
now
wanna
it's
move
dark,
around.
which really pissed me off. And of course, we're leaving and we never do this, but Anna's like, I gotta go talk to someone. She's like, go over to the hospitality booth and like, how's everything? We're like, not good. It's just like, can I see your manager? I have a bad experience like that. It'll just Karen-fy you right away.
Did Anna speak with the manager?
We both spoke with the manager, and it was that same pimply faced kid. No, it was I don't know that we didn't speak with any manager. We just talked to the 12-year-old that was running the hospitality
That's
booth.
the thing. Instead of a 16-year-old who's stupid, you get a 22-year-old who's stupid. Like, it's going to be that much better when you talk to the manager.
And what's funny is the same experience that anytime you go to complain, they go, yeah, we heard a lot of bad stuff about that one. Yeah, there's a lot of complaints from that theater.
Yeah.
It's like we weren't even the first ones, and we were like the first people out of that theater. So somebody must have gone out during the show and complained. But unbelievable. I think that you're right. Like, theaters need to go. If you can't run it correctly, it's really not that hard. You just start the goddamn movie at the time that it says. You pay, it was like $40 to go see this IMAX thing, and then
that's the thing,
get just a shit experience. So
you don't see the previews. And yes, I will be the one who
I want to see them.
I do want to see them, and then I will get a little annoyed because I always feel there's like 3 too many. But still, I do want to see them. You know who actually whose job it was to actually change the roll of film in movie theaters as your movie was playing? This gentleman on my shirt right here, an independent pro wrestler and celebrity extraordinaire, Danhausen. His job as a youngster used to be able to. He used to do that. I imagine he did it very well. So right now he's got a T-shirt and I'm wearing it. So
he did it that well.
Yeah, that's it.
I also know. So there's also another thing. Like, so women are called Karens, but men are called Kevins. Is that right?
I've never heard that.
The deal? It was funny because when I went out the hall to complain to the 16-year-old or whatever, there was another old guy with me, and he was the one that was like, "Where's the movie?" When we went back in, he told the whole audience in there. He goes, "I had to be a Kevin," and I was like, I don't know if that's really the same as like reporting black people for doing nothing wrong, as opposed to like going, "Hey, can our movie start?" Like, that's not really Kevining. But anyway,
I didn't know that was a term.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I guess that's a new one. I don't know. Maybe that's his real name, and he's like, I had to be Kevin because that's me, and I complain. I don't know. I'm not really sure, but
he left
in any
his medication
case,
at home. Yeah,
both of our pleasures were crap, but
but we like the movie. But that sucks. You had to watch it with the lights on. That's the part that.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing is, and I must be getting old, and of course, I am getting old, but when I left the theater, my first thought was, it was so loud. It's just so loud in there. Do those explosions have to be so realistic? The whole room, it really was loud. I almost had to like, yeah.
My grandma Ann from Bensonhurst in Brooklyn used to go on about the kids in the neighborhood. They got the radio so loud. I says to Anne Marie, I says, it's so loud you can't hear nothing. I says to Anne Marie, you can't hear. It's so loud. We went to the bakery. We were getting some bread. You can't hear nothing. I says, boom, boom, boom. The radio you can't. How you supposed to hear? Have some soup.
Have some soup. So okay, we have any accomplishments this week, Bob? Do we get any A's in? I mean,
I started driving for Uber Eats.
Nice, that's fantastic.
There you go.
That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah, it's something.
Bobby's got a jobby.
Kinda, not really. Like, it's
that's a job, Bob.
It's a job, sort of.
The profession.
No. Yeah, I bring people their Chipotle and maybe they tip.
I do love that you went into it and you're like, I joined Uber, but I don't take any passengers. Just their food.
Just their food. No, that's a whole different animal. It's not quite paying all that much, and then you have car expenses. You're like, am I just driving all day to break even? But the problem is, it couldn't come at a worse time, because as my hernia acts up, sitting around in the car all day sucks. Yeah. So it's hurting. So really, after 2.5 hours, like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And what I've been doing is driving like 2.5, coming home for a few hours and driving 2.5. But really, like, it hurts like fuck. So So that's, I think, another main reason I don't like it. I think I'm gonna have to move around and like find different areas of San Diego to drive in, because I've been taking a lot of Mission Valley things. There's a lot of restaurants there, but the thing is, you got to go to people's apartment complex, and these complexes are so huge. The address is one giant building with 4 different sections and a parking lot, and nothing's ever labeled. So you're walking around, and then they're mad that you don't magically know your way around their insane apartment complex.
Sounds complex.
It's very complex. So I have no idea what to do. I may have to bite the bullet and start extra cleaning the inside and bite the bullet and do passengers. And I really don't want to do it. Like, I'm fighting it to the death.
Part of me is like afraid for when that happens, and part of me is just like, oh, I just can't wait because of the stories.
That's the thing. Yeah,
that Bob's gonna have. How many people did you have to body slam today, Bob?
Yeah, it's going to be an issue. There's going to be an issue.
But that is a big accomplishment, getting a job.
It's something. It's a couple of bucks. It's some cash at the end of the day. It's not paying the rent. It's barely not. It's not even really paying bills. It's just like, if I go buy $30 for groceries, like, well, okay, that got paid for. So I don't know.
Something's better than nothing.
Sounds better than nothing. I'm still applying to other shitty jobs though, because now they decided that as rent goes up, it's best to pay you $15 an hour, no matter what job you do. So if I work $15 an hour, I'm just doing numbers here. I'm just crunching numbers for everyone and for everyone listening and watching. And then I, maybe on the weekends, if I don't get a few bucks for comedy, I could just drive Uber Eats, and that'll hold me over for a while, so I can pay some insurance so they can cut my groin open, and everything will be great.
If you guys joined in late, this is the Beachtown podcast designed to cheer you up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Hey, now hang on a second. Hang on. Hold the phone. Stop the press. Back the buggy up. Back the buggy up. It's still cheering them up, because they can listen and they can watch and they can go, hey, I'm not those guys.
I'm doing better than those two.
I'm doing better than Bob.
Losers.
I mean, fuck it.
Hey, we don't identify as losers because of our loserhood.
Yeah, that's right.
We're not losers, Bob. We are winners, and we're going to get there one day.
Yes.
Hopefully we get a bunch of Patreon subscribers.
Someday. Oh yeah, I guess that's Patreon. Someday, Jesse, and if you're out there, someday Dan Housen is going to be wearing my shirt. How about that? I'll be wearing a Beachtown shirt. I'll be wearing one of those.
I'll be wearing it too.
Yes.
Well, I didn't have any
accomplishments.
I made the bed today, and I wrote a bunch of ads, and I took my car to get the oil changed and tuned up. And it was annoying because after it was late, I'm late getting it back because I went to Kearney Mesa Toyota, where they don't remember you. And as soon, and I'm like waiting to get the thing, and then the woman comes out and goes, did I tell you that we have some recommendations for stuff? I go, what do you mean? Did you tell me? When would you tell me? What did you psychically, did you email? What are you talking about? It was like, I've been waiting for 2 hours. Then it's like, did we tell you about our recommendations for how to juice you for more money? And I was like, no, you didn't tell me. She's like, well, I'd have to keep the car for at least another hour. It's going to cost you more. And I'm like, no, I have to go. I don't even know what the recommendation. They were like, do you want to top off your cappuccino fluids, or I don't know what.
Lady, I recommend you shove this up your ass and give me my vehicle.
I was like, I need my car.
I have a recommendation.
Yeah. So that was great going back there, and
I have the same
my tires rotated.
I have the same Toyota. I go to the same Toyota dealership that you do. And I always complain about this every time. I make an appointment and I go there, and they're like, well, we have too many cars here. It's going to take longer.
Yeah.
What was the appointment for?
Why did I have an appointment for
every
this time? Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
And it's an oil change. Why have I been here 2 hours for an oil change? And I know jack shit about cars, but I know,
you know how to take the appointment. You just don't know how to keep the appointment. Very annoying. But yeah, that's really all we accomplished. Rest, my rest is jacked up. I sleep in 2 different segments now. I fall asleep around 12 or 1. I wake up, around 4 or 5, and then I'm up forever. And maybe I fall asleep back again at 8 for another hour or something. But very weird sleep. Sometimes My cat is like a real insomniac. Meowsy doesn't ever seem to sleep. He wake me up at all hours and try to get food out of me. There's something wrong with him since he's been back. Like, he went missing for a while, and I think he was starving in them streets for a while. And now he's really just like concerned that he doesn't have access to food 24/7.
Yeah.
Try to feed him at regular times, but he will just bug you relentlessly. Like he'll just feed him and then he wants food again. I think it's really a safety issue, and he just feels unsafe or something. But poor little guy. He actually roams the neighborhood not as far as he did before. He wears a GPS tracker now, and I can see he doesn't go as far from the house. And he's we only let him out during the day, but at night I keep him in, and he's very restless. So he's affecting my sleep, but I love that little guy. I've been playing with him more because I think he's bored like me, and so I play with him and with a little toy, and he's chasing the feathers around. And I bought a couple new toys for him. I tend to forget he's like still a little baby boy, and he loves to play. And even though there's 2 other cats to play with, sometimes he wants to play with me. So
it's not the same. Those cats can't, because those other cats can't pick up the thing and shake it. That's why they need you.
They're not good at it.
They suck at it. That's why they're always on. That's why they always play defense.
Yeah. Yeah, and Pretty Boy, I've noticed he's got the same fighting style that Meowsy had when he was younger, where he just lays on his back and like, meh, and then will like bat at you like. It's like, I think it's the laziest way of fighting I've ever seen.
Now, how many cats do you have now? Is it 14?
Basically 14,000. We have 3. Yeah. We really have 2 cats, and our neighbor's cat lives over here with us, so it's basically 3. We own 2, and one of them we lease with an option to buy.
Every time I come over there, there's 13 cats at least, and a sword of Thundera and a Thundercats theme song, and they're fighting Mum-Ra, and it's just so many cats. One of them singing Memories. There's just so many goddamn cats every time I go there.
I know you're allergic to the whole situation.
The whole situation, but now it's just comical anyway. But no, it's just I'm only allergic if I pick up the cat and rub it on my face. So after 6-7 times, I learned.
So, any rest this week, or has it been more difficult with the Hern?
It's been difficult. I mean, it's basically now I sleep on my back forever. That's how I do it. But here's one thing I'm doing that's a little bit better for the rest is I've decided as long as I can avoid it, I stopped waking up to an alarm. I just said, fuck it. When I wake up is when I wake up, which is not good day to day. It's great for the weekend. I think it would be great for weekends. Like in theory, if I had any kind of regular schedule, like that would be good. Like, okay, Saturday, Sunday, you wake up when you wake up. But really for like Tuesday, it's not. I just listen, when I decide I'm up, I'm up. But I'm not doing any more than 8, 7 or 8 hours. So it's not like I'm just cocking back for 11 hours or something.
You always slept like on your stomach. I always sleep on my side. You're a stomach sleeper, right?
Yeah.
It's weird when you never have slept on your back before. I'm trying it now too, and it's so weird. I don't like sleep just on your back. You feel like Dracula or something.
I like my feetals. I feel nice and safe.
I like to cocoon myself in pillows. I sleep with the earplugs and the nose thing and the mask, and then I have a pillow between the knees and pillow that I clutch, and I cocoon. I get a pillow exoskeleton. And
my bigger pillow I can't put my head on because it hurts. It's too big because my neck bends too much. So my thin pillow is the one I use. I just use one thin pillow, and the thick one I put my feet up, so I elevate my feet.
There you go.
And that's how I sleep, with my feet elevated and my arms crossed. My arms crossed like I just lost to the Undertaker. Like it's just too much. There's a bathrobe on the floor. It looks like a Jedi died. It's ridiculous.
Bob's resting.
That's how exactly. That's how I sleep.
It's creepy as hell.
Yeah, it can't be good for anybody.
Speaking of good, and that brings us to G. Do you got anything good for us for G, our gentle with self, since we went in reverse and did our Separg?
Today I had some bank issues. I had to move some money from a retirement thing to a checking thing. Okay. And it was supposed to have been done like a week ago, and the bank rejected it for one reason or another. And so I was on a phone with the retirement, then the bank, then retirement again. And I can say this, here's a compliment to one. This is gentle with oneself. You give yourself a compliment.
Yes.
No matter what mood I am in, no matter how frustrated I am, no matter how much I may hate the company or corporation or bank or credit card or whatever that I'm talking to,
Yeah.
I am still nice and patient to the specific customer person on the phone. They do
Good.
not own the company. I know they're sitting there on the other end and they answer the phone. I know people just start screaming
Yep.
into the void. It's like the people who like this is way off on a tangent, but it's like when people were mad at Chick-fil-A because the Chick-fil-A like owner like doesn't like gay marriage or gay people or something. So like people would post videos of themselves like pulling up to the drive-through at Chick-fil-A and like screaming at the lady like at the window. Like, what does that accomplish? You think that lady gives a shit one way or another? That lady's got 3 jobs and 18 kids, and they're all making noise during a Snake Eyes movie, but still, that lady doesn't need. That lady is not the asshole here. If you're be mad at the CEO all day, I don't give a shit. Be mad at that guy. Whether if he's being a prick, he's being a prick. But also, what did you do? Because so you can get points and pat yourself on the back and go, look, I yelled at that lady who probably has read less about this than I have because she doesn't have all day to spend on Twitter. She has to give assholes the chicken sandwiches all day. So yeah, I yelled at the service person who can't yell back. It's not a fair fight because they're on the clock. They get fired if they go back and tell you to go fuck yourself, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a fair fight. You're just using them as a punching bag and knowing you can get away with it. So I never do that. I never yell at customer service people. Last week, I think I said I always tip the industry people. So this is on similar. It's kind of a little a double up on par there.
I think that's great. I think those are great qualities. My G was I'm pretty good with kids. I like kids, and I think of myself as a big kid. So when I talk to kids, I just talk directly to them. I don't talk down to them the way I see other adults do.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not a parent, so I don't know what I'm doing, but I just try to talk to them like a person, and I treat them the way I would want to be talked to when I was a kid. So I don't curse around them. That's one thing I think is a little messed up. Whenever I hear people like cursing a lot around kids, like more than usual or something, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, are you trying to show off? Are you like trying to impress the kid with the words they're not allowed to say? I always give Anna a hard time whenever she doesn't mean to curse around the kid, but
slip ups are always going to happen.
Slip ups happen, and I get
always
that.
Know. I have a nephew who's 7. I think last year he was 6. I'll have to ask. I'm not sure, but that's one of those things. They always know more than you think they do.
Yeah,
as kids, because we always did and everything. And we were allowed to watch crazy movies and then review them 30 years later badly, but yeah, the slip ups always happen, and it's just one of those things. But yeah, I'm the same way. I try to at least be somewhat respectful around kids.
And I don't know like how they're being raised or whatever, but I remember my dad never using curse words around us. I never cursed ever, and he explained it as like, I just think it's a limited way of communicating. Like if you can't find another word to use to express yourself, you sound ignorant. So it's not like I don't curse or curse in the act or anything, but when I'm around kids, I feel weird about it. And but I really like kids, and I really like hanging out when we hang out with little C and Will and them, and taking them to the zoo and stuff. And so I think I'm good with kids. I think that's a good quality.
Yeah. Like, why would you go like, hey, check out the motherfucking rhinos?
Yeah, I know, it's weird. Like, that's a big fucking horn.
Because the kids always come up to the glass, and maybe there's the polar bear, and even though you want to, you can't go, holy shit, get the fuck away from that bear, you little retard. Like you can't say any of that. You shouldn't say retard, but I know what you mean. You just
you can't say any of that.
Even if your head, you're like, because kids aren't scared of things. You're like, get the fuck away from the polar bear. It's a motherfucking polar bear. Why aren't you terrified? Like, well, now they are. So
they haven't learned fear yet. Well, that was pretty good grapes. I think we definitely got through our grapes. We didn't cheer anyone up, but we smashed some grapes. I think we better take a quick break here, pay some bills, and come right back.
Probably for the better. And if we're going to pay bills, if we're going to do a sponsor, let's do it from someone who's definitely new. How about a new company we haven't heard of? How about something that gives somebody else a chance? I don't want to it sucks to go through the same old tired tropes of, oh, I got it. Let's talk about Pepsi Blue and how you can go to Pepsi.com and type in a promo code Beachtown and nothing happens because it's Pepsi Blue and it's very refreshing. You can't do that. Let's not waste people's time. And furthermore, Jesse, we're not going to waste people's time and tell them that if they enjoy the cool taste of Diet Dr. Pepper, which tastes just like regular Dr. Pepper, go to coca-cola.com/Dr. Pepper, enter the promo code Beachtown. Again, nothing happens. And we're not trying to just shamelessly pit Pepsi Blue and Diet Dr. Pepper against one another in a bidding war to sponsor this podcast, all episodes of which are on Podomatic, by the way. And hey, listen, Pepsi Blue, listen, Diet Dr. Pepper, I'll have you know that in the last week, since Beachtown has been on Podomatic, we have gone from number 94 to number 26 ranked in the mental health podcast of Podomatic. So right. we went up 68 podcasts in the rankings in just 1 week. That? In just 1 week, Pepsi Blue, or Diet Dr. Pepper.
Right. Junior Diet Dr. Pepper.
So just letting you guys know, you're the ones missing out. But today, I think it's time for a very different word from a sponsor.
Are you a goose? Are you a swan, sir? Now here's a word from a sponsor.
Bob, you ready?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm here. I'm still here.
All right. Bob, everybody knows about CBD, the miraculous healing substance derived from cannabis. But nobody's ever searched for the potential beneficial properties derived from harder drugs until now. Introducing Faux Caine, the magical powder with the healing power of cocaine. Faux Caine, or as we call it, Diet Coke, hope that's not taken, helps with pain, energy, and not having the confidence to spike your hair. Try Faux Caine and watch your productivity go through the roof. Give it to your pets and watch them go through the roof. If you're sleeping too well, have an excess of friends, or an unwanted surplus of money, the answer is Faux Caine. Try some of the fun recipes on the side of the box, like cooking Faux Caine into frack. Side effects include insomnia, paranoia, hanging out around 7-Elevens, jail, cooties, death, and wearing those Kanye shades that look like little shutters. Faux Caine, from the makers of Crystal Light.
Oh, my goodness.
That's Al Pacino. Well, that's a word from a sponsor, Bob.
Well, that was very nice. I'll have to try some of that Faux Caine. One of our first gigs we did together? Didn't we do we did a benefit for medicinal cocaine? Did we not?
That's true. I remember the lines were out the door.
Yeah, absolutely. Everywhere you sat was the nosebleed section.
That's right. I can't remember the last one.
Only show you can perform on and still get bumped.
That's right.
It's one for the comedians, that last one. But that's all right.
Good times.
What are you gonna do?
Well, Bob, I think it is time for my favorite part of the podcast, the one where I get to sit back and do nothing and enjoy a wonderful synopsis and review of a brand new movie from the 80s or 90s. I'm not sure when this one was. I'm excited, though, because I don't think I've ever seen this movie. So without further ado, we present At the Theater.
Popcorn and previews, movies and reviews at the theater. At the theater.
Okay, let me say before we do anything else, Julia Roberts is a prostitute.
Okay.
Are we? When do you want to do the movie segment? Are we still recording, or what do you want to do?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are. Yeah.
Oh, sure, we are on. Oh, my bad. Okay, so we're talking about Julia Roberts is darling in this. I love her. I'm so sorry. It was funny. It was funny. You make the jokes. What are you gonna do?
That was funny.
Oh, righty. Oh my goodness, this poor woman. She was the best part of this. This is from 1990. It is called Pretty Woman, which I don't think you can even call it Pretty Woman anymore. It would be like binary cis normative, assuming gender role, totally confident with oneself,
pretty objectified individual.
Yes, definitely. It would be attractive female at very best. But this is starring Richard Gere. Now, someone before I jump into it, somebody asked me this on Facebook. It's a popular social networking application. I don't have time to explain it right now. Hey, did you just watch Pretty Woman because it was on the Netflix Movies That Made Us thing? And yes and no. I put Pretty Woman on my watch list on the Peacock social media application, which sucks ass, but it's the only way I can. It's the only way Peacock now owns WWE and owns their network. So Peacock is now the only way to watch pro wrestling that I really hate. So I need Peacock in my life, apparently. So, but they have movies and pretty much they just have The Office and Mariska Hargitay and some wrestling nobody likes, and that's mostly. But anyway, they had Pretty Woman. I put on a watch list, and that was going to be the first one I reviewed, or the first or second episode, and I just forgot about it. And then I watched Movies That Made Us, and that was one of them. And I went, oh shit, I forgot all about Pretty Woman. How many of these reviews can I do that I can watch for free? Ever since I blew $4 on Weekend at Bernie's, and Weekend at Bernie's too, you can't rent. I'm trailing way off. I'll get back on track. You can't even rent Weekend at Bernie's too. You have to buy it for $8 off Amazon.
Oh my god!
And I'm not going to buy Weekend at Bernie's too for $1. I probably would for $1, but I think there's voodoo involved. I read the synopsis. Not important right now. But
did you watch this movie?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you ready for Pretty Woman?
So I think I'm ready.
I think I just heard. I don't know if that helped the segment at all.
I don't know.
Okay. So, all right. And here from 1990 is Pretty Woman. All right. So we go to the streets of Hollywood, and there's a guy. He's a pimp. But I don't know if we're allowed to call them pimps anymore. But anyway, he's doing a spiel about, hey, in Hollywood, what's your dream? Everyone has a dream. You got dreams. And then he's not really that important, but I don't know why they start with that. And then Richard Gere has a lot of money. And his friend and lawyer is George Costanza from Jason Alexander from
nice.
Seinfeld, right? And Jason Alexander is very short in this one as well, because he was short in the sitcom, and they just kept the thing. It's like almost like the same character. So Richard Gere, who's playing Ed, which does not sound as cool. He's very rich, and he has a friend, lawyer George Costanza, and they're both very rich. And their company's job is to buy other companies and then split those companies apart and sell them. It's really stupid. So anyway, we go to Hollywood Boulevard, and there's a lot of prostitutes or hookers. They say prostitute, and they say the word hooker a lot, but you can't say hooker anymore. Now you have to say sex worker now. Did you know that? You can't say hooker anymore. So they can't make this film today at all, because they'd be sex workers, and it's portrayed as a negative thing to be. The idea is that you don't want to be a sex worker or hooker or prostitute. So the whole movie's problematic from the get-go. But anyway, so Julia Roberts is on the corner, and she's got a blonde wig, and she's wearing like an outfit with like a short blue skirt thing, and everyone's whistling at her and everything. And she is a short redheaded friend who later had her own sitcom with David Spade. I can't think of it right now. It's not important. But anyway, the character's name was Kit. And then so Ed, or Richard Gere, he's at a party, and everyone's telling him how rich he is. And then he gets a phone call from New York. He's in LA, and someone named Jessica, who's his girlfriend or wife, he has a fight with her, and she leaves him. And then Richard Gere's like, oh, if I'm going to leave my rich party, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So he basically steals his friend George Costanza's car, which is a Lotus, I think it's called.
Oh,
and
nice.
and he can't drive a stick. And I'm not talking shit because I can't either, but I wouldn't jump in a car where you had to do. You know what I'm saying? so I'm not. At least I know what I don't know. That's me being gentle with oneself. And so Richard Gere is just grinding gears. I didn't even fucking I didn't even know I was gonna do it. Rich, he's just grinding gears all over Hollywood, right? And he pulls over, and sure enough, it's Julia Roberts, and she's got the blonde wig, and he pulls over, and she thinks that he's going to pay her money in exchange for sexual favors. Do you understand? And then he rolls down. He's like, "Hey, can I get directions? I'm looking to get to Beverly Hills." And she's like, "It'll cost you $5." And he's like, $5 for directions. And she's like, well, now it's 10. And he's like, to hell with it, get in. And then he just lets her drive, because he just realizes he can't drive the car well, so he lets her drive. And then there's a lot of banter, and they start becoming friendly. And then they get to the hotel, and everyone's looking at her because apparently this is a fancy hotel. You're not allowed to have scantily clad women or prostitutes. You're not supposed to in the hotel, right? But he's a big time money guy, so they just kind of wink and let them do whatever they do. And all the people that live in Hollywood are apparently like their eyes are bulging out because they saw a prostitute, and they can't fathom the idea that a prostitute exists, or sex worker. I apologize. So anyway, they go to the hotel. And then they end up being friends, and she's challenging him on banter, and she keeps like, hey, I guess you want to do some intercourse now or something. Like, what are you paying me for? And he's like, yeah, just hang out. He doesn't care, just hang out. So they get some food, and they start watching I Love Lucy, and she's laughing her ass off because like Lucy and Ethel, they're stomping the grapes. It's not the one with the chocolates where she puts the chocolate in the shirt. This one they're making wine by stomping grapes, and she's laughing, he's laughing, and then finally like he's checking her out, and she puts like her hands on his knees. And she won't kiss him. That's a big theme throughout the movie. She's not going to kiss him. She's like, hey, I don't. That's a personal thing. I just do the sex things. And then they kind of cut, and it's implied that she at the very least filleted the man. You understand? And because she's a prostitute or whatever. But anyway, you see him showering the next day, and then he decides, hey, I got this big fancy bullshit I got to do with my rich friends, and you're fun to hang out with, and everyone else just tells me whatever I want to hear. And then she realizes she's got red hair or whatever. Her name's Vivian, I don't know. And he takes her to this golf like thing, where I don't think it was golf. There was horses. Yeah, there was horses, and the horses kick the dirt everywhere. And then he just pays her. He says, here's $3,000, hang out with me for just like a week. Do whatever the hell. We're just going to live in this hotel. I don't give a shit. Everyone else is boring, and I hate my job where I make way too much money. And then he gives her money to go shopping, and the ladies at the dress store are mean to her because they can tell she's a prostitute. So they go, this is expensive, you can't afford it. And she's like, well, I have money, how much is it? They just go, it's expensive, and they kick her out. And then the guys at the hotel are all mean to her, like, oh, you're not officially on the guest list, so we can't let you back in. And she's got to get Richard Gere involved and everything. I don't even know if George Costanza got his car back. I got no fucking idea. So they become friends, but then Richard Gere slips up, and he tells Jason Alexander that Julia Roberts is a prostitute. You understand? And then he says something. Jason Alexander says something about it to her, like even though he's married, like, hey, man, I'll give you a few bucks. You show me a good time. And Julia Roberts is all pissed off at Richard Gere for telling him that he's a prostitute. And Gere says he's sorry, but that was his friend, and he stupidly trusted his friend, and he just had to explain who you were, But so it was all complicated, and I think they have some more intercourse at some point, and there's like a bath or something. There's like a big hot tub bath thing that she really likes, and she plays music, and she's singing along to the Prince song, I think the Kiss song, whatever the hell it is by Prince, I don't know what it is, and she's got the big headphones, and she's having a good time, and there's a bit of fighting, and she decided that she's going to leave. She's tired of him, but he's like, just stay just a little bit, yeah, and then he goes in some meeting, and he has an argument with George Costanza about how ruthless they're going to be to the company they're going to buy. And now Ed Lewis or Richard Gere shows compassion because his life is changed by this hooker or sex worker. His life is changed. And then Costanza gets mad. So he goes to the hotel to look for Gere, but Gere's not there. So he hits on Julia Roberts, and he's like, hey, he's drunk, and he's drunk too. He's like, hey, here's some money. You should be fucking me now, or something like that. You're supposed to be fucking. She's like, no, I don't. I hate you. You're a jerk, though. I don't have to. You just get away from me. And then this is where it sucks, because he slaps Julia Roberts, and that's no good. You can't do that. And then he's getting forceful. He's on top of her, and he's like about to commit sexual assault on the sex worker here. It's really bad, and it gets uncomfortable because we knew he was a jerk, but we didn't know he was like evil jerk. But I guess he was drinking, and I don't know. I don't fucking know. It was just like a bit weird jump, but But then Richard Gere shows up out of nowhere, and he beats the fuck out of George Costanza. He slaps him, and what are you doing? I've been working for you for 10 years. And then he punches him and throws him out of there and says, get the fuck out of here, get a new job. And I forgot to mention that at one point when Richard Gere was falling asleep, that's when Julia Roberts kisses him and breaks the rule. And then, but then they decide they can't be a couple anyway because Richard Gere wants to, but Julia Roberts says it's just not going to work, like with this different types of society. So she, when he leaves for a second, she takes a limo with Daryl, drove the limo. I don't know why I remember that, but the hotel guys, they all like Julia Roberts now because she was wearing classy dresses, and she went to the opera and she was moved. And at one point she goes to touch the necklace, and Richard Gere does the thing where it snaps and she takes her hand away and laughs. And apparently that scene, that 2-second scene everyone remembers, was an outtake, but they were just fucking around because that's totally not her character. Like, almost didn't like laugh at weird shit. But anyway, so she goes back to Hollywood and tells her friend Kit, like, hey, I'm gonna study and get my act together and not be a sex worker anymore. And Kit's like, maybe I'll do less crack, because she had like a drug problem. And then but then earlier, you have to remember, in the middle of the film, like Julia Roberts says, hey, Richard Gere, my fantasy was my dream guy. My mom was mean to me. She used to make me hide in the attic when I was bad, and I used to have this fantasy that like a guy would like a knight in shining armor would yell outside the thing, and then I'd go out and he would rescue me. And so she's in her apartment on like the 3rd floor, and there was a fire escape she used to avoid the landlord who always wanted his rent. And then he hears Richard Gere yelling something about being a prince and saving a fair lady from the thing. And Richard Gere's on the sidewalk. He followed her all the way back to Hollywood, where she was a sex worker. And they meet up on the firework. And I thought he was going to fall back and crack his skull open, which would have been really terrible. But he didn't, thankfully. But they were down this dangerous, teetering metal fire escape thing. And there's a big kiss. And it's apparent that they're going to stay together and they're going to try to make it work. And that was Pretty Woman.
Sounds nice. It sounds romantic.
It really was. It was apparently it's like the #1 rom-com like ever, and
Wow.
or something like that. And I had no idea really what I was getting into. But this is the most Julia Roberts I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, can you give me a review of that film? It sounds like it was pretty good. What did you think overall?
Keeping in mind that I saw it less than 24 hours ago, and I also saw it 48 hours after Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins.
Yeah, I mean, you got to watch real cinema.
Right. So to go to this, with all those different factors at play, arguably the greatest film ever made.
Wow.
Yeah.
High praise. And amazingly, there was no mention of Richard Gere and the gerbils or anything during that whole synopsis.
No, well, fair enough. This is the only Richard Gere movie I've ever seen. And this movie, more so than Weekend at Bernie's, and I think they came out, Weekend at Bernie's was 89, so Weekend at Bernie's precedes this by a year. Why am I comparing these films? More so than Weekend at Bernie's, this film opens itself up to a sequel, because really the beginning of their relationship starts at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So where does it go? And are more people? She was always afraid they're gonna people. What if someone at your fancy party recognizes me and I screw up the whole thing? Because they're at a restaurant, and she accidentally like sends an oyster flying across the room, and like some waiter just catches it with his hand. Didn't make a lot of sense. Apparently, the main producer guy was insane, according to the Netflix documentary, and just said, do whatever the fuck, we'll throw it in there. And
so you're saying there might have been gerbils in the sequel?
I think hypothetically, yeah. And maybe it's something that Hollywood needs to revisit. Like, what if the gerbils, in Los Angeles, came across some kind of radioactive material and became ninjas and mutants?
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they helped.
And also sex workers.
Yeah, the teenage mutant ninja sex workers.
Gerbils. Teenage mutant ninja sex worker gerbils. Teenage mutant sex worker gerbils.
Oh my goodness.
Gerbils and a half shell.
Something has to go. I think we take out teenage, because who cares how old the gerbils are really? So
yeah, they got to be older than teenage if they're sex workers.
Yeah.
Fully grown adult gerbil sex worker ninjas. Fully.
Right.
Which
isn't half bad. No. Well,
that was a good movie review. We appreciate that. That was at the theater, and we thank you for that, Bob. We appreciate that very much. And actually, that brings us to the end of our episode today. We want to thank everybody for listening / watching the Beachtown podcast, available on YouTube as well as Podomatic, and soon to be everywhere else. I've been Jesse Egan, and you can find me at Jesse Egan Comedy on all social media. Please check out my other podcast, Awful Neutral. It's a comedy D&D podcast, and my comedy stand-up special is called That's the Spirit. You can see it on drybarcomedy.com. Bob, where can people find you?
I don't know if they should anymore, like at this stage of the game. At Bob Hansen Jokes, Twitter and Instagram. You can see what I'm doing. I just finished. I just published the 100th episode of my wrestling podcast, The Hardest Part of the Ring. And this one is a special one for my special 100th episode. I recalled, and it's on YouTube and Podomatic as well. I recalled my time, my early fandom as a pro wrestler, and my early training and my main experiences wrestling under Off the Wild Samoan for WXW Wrestling in Pennsylvania. And the story is included. I think one of your favorites was the Ottoman, where I found out my grandpa has 9 toes, and that's what forced me. So that full story is on, and that's what forced me to stare at the TV, because my mom figured out what I was seeing and went, "Don't yell because I'm 9." She's like, basically, don't yell out that why do you have 9 toes, Grandpa? So she's like, just look at the TV, just look at it. I don't care what is on the TV, look at it. And sure enough, it was pro wrestling.
Nice.
And so that story is in there, and even that episode has a link to the best version of the Luna Vachon story, where I get some of my back bitten off. So there's a link there too, and those links are on Podomatic as well. So definitely, check those out. And of course, Beachtown comedy is the big one. That's the main one. That's the skinny. That's the scuttlebutt. That's the deep dish. Now you're on the trolley. That's the ticket. It is the bee's knees. It is the cat's pajamas. It is all the way live, living on the edge of a lightning bolt, making your body shake, your back crack, your knees freeze, and your liver quiver with a hole in your heart and a pain in your pancreas. I know, right? So we will. So
everybody get health insurance.
Everyone get health insurance. Yes, that'll teach that lesson.
Well, thanks a lot, Bob. That was an awesome show today, and we'll see everybody next week.